Today we're joined by Union Uno Mezcal as they show us how to make their avocado margarita.
Hi, my name is Jessica Brash. I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon, and I am the brand ambassador for Mezcal Union, as well as a cocktail enthusiast.
Now, if people aren't overly familiar with the brand, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, absolutely. The best part about Mezcal Union is it kind of just tells you exactly what we're all about right on the label. We are an alliance of over 200 families across 9 villages in the state of Oaxaca. What really makes Mezcal Union unique, apart from the fact that we are uniting these smaller producers, is that we utilize two different types of agave in our blend. So we're using agave espadín, which most mezcal enthusiasts are very familiar with, but we're also using a smaller wild varietal called agave sirial. And that one's really delicious and adds just a touch more complexity and a little bit more playfulness when you're using it in cocktails or sipping it on its own.
And that's the thing about mezcal is it does embrace all of the varietals of agave, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of times my big mission is when I come across somebody who's like, oh, I tried mezcal, but I didn't really enjoy it. They don't realize there's such a broad spectrum of different types of agave. And I always just tell them you haven't met the one that you love yet.
And what are the differences in flavor that come out of the different agaves?
Well, so with Citial, you're going to get a little bit more of a little bit of apple. I get a touch more lemongrass. And then if you're just trying it on its own, initial scent, I get like a touch of pine as well, which is really fun. And so when you're playing that together with like the really prominent flavors of espadín, it kind of just gives it this little lacy edge, just quite delicious.
Now, you're making spring cocktail for us today.
So spring is a really fun time. It's definitely a season of transition, right? We're kind of dusting off our spring coats and getting more into longer days. And so I kind of wanted to bridge that gap as well. So we have, the soft and comforting flavors of avocado, which will still kind of coat the mouth and give that little bit of warmth.
What is it about the mezcal that works so well in these drinks?
Springtime is one of my favorite times. You get the flowers, you have baseball. And if we're thinking about baseball, I always think of Mezcal as like the super utility player. You can use it in just about anything. It translates very well to winter cocktails. Obviously, we love our Oaxacan old fashions and our Negronis. And obviously, summer, everyone thinks about our margaritas. But again, when you're in this in between time, you can really play around with some of the fun and unexpected parts of mezcal. Again, we're kind of going a little bit more in a culinary way with this avocado margarita. And you're just going to be able to use these flavors that sometimes are only reserved for certain weather, certain spirits, whereas mezcal kind of does great across the board.
Can you take us through the ingredients?
Absolutely. I love the Mezcal Union avocado margarita because it definitely plays up to things that you might already have in your kitchen. So you don't have to be a James Beard Award chef to make this, but it is something fun that really plays along with how mezcal is great with all food. So the first thing we're going to do is get our pureed avocado. This is really simple. You made tacos the night before, you have a little bit of avocado left over. Just put a little bit in your food processor and you'll be good to go. And this is just about 3/4 of an ounce of avocado puree. Obviously, you need your mezcal. Buñon has a really nice round mouthfeel, so that plays off of the avocado as well, which I absolutely love. And we're just doing 1.5 ounces of this. So kind of like your classic margarita build in terms of just how much mezcal we'll be throwing into this margarita. Do need a little bit of acid. I had someone actually ask me when I was making this cocktail before, they're like, can I just throw guacamole in here? And I told them to come back to me and tell me what they thought because, we are throwing a little bit of acid in there, a little bit of chili. We'll put a little bit of chili salt on the rim of this glass. You know, have fun. Be creative. Don't be scared. It can all be very fun. So just about 3/4 ounce of fresh squeezed lime juice. And then just a touch of agave. We're not going overly sweet in this, which I really, really love. So about 1/4 ounce of agave syrup. Again, you're going to get all that delicious fattiness from the avocado, a touch of sweetness from that as well. And then from there, we'll shake it up. think another reason I really love this cocktail for spring is it just has this beautiful, vibrant green color. This goes really well. So I am double straining this just so we can get a little bit more of that avocado chunk out. But yeah, as you can see, just a really, really, really beautiful, beautiful color. I've done a little chili salt on the rims, but you can utilize any salt that you would like on this. But I love the contrast of color on that, just makes me really happy. And again, this is a cocktail that you can, the majority of the ingredients are already in your pantry if you cook at home. So, all you need is the mezcal. And again, union goes great with food, so it should just be in your pantry anyway. So the final garnish there is just a sprig of cilantro and just really beautiful cocktail. And again, flavor, softer, creamier, that little touch of sweetness. And if you like the spice, you'll have that little bit when you're taking your first sip.
What's the flavor of the drink? Is it very avocado? Does that break down a bit?
It breaks down a little bit. What you really get is an awesome, awesome mouthfeel. You'll get a touch of that avocado. Like I mentioned, honestly, the agave and union really bring out that little bit of sweetness that you get from avocado as well. That's why when people are like, oh, can I try guacamole? I'm like, you could. It might be a little bit more of like a tart and tangy. But as it stands with this one, it's not an overly sweet. It's kind of almost skirting savory, which is also something that a lot of spirits can't say they work well with, whereas mezcal always works well in savory cocktails as well.
Avocado is itself quite thick, I suppose would be the easiest way to put it. How well
Yes.
does that shake and break down during the making?
So I do recommend before you're making this cocktail, if you'd like to make your avocado puree, throw it in a food processor so that you're really working out any initial chunks. And then from there, I always double strain. So there will be a little bit left in your mesh strainer. But in terms of the cocktail itself, there's really no separation. There's not a lot of chunkiness. And you can, if you are entertaining at home, you can purchase avocado puree ready to go. I just happened to have made tacos last night and figured, hey, let's use this avocado. We'll throw it in the NutriBullet. We'll get it going.